Good evening. I'm demonstrating today how to make tofu makhanwala with mushrooms. No butter, no oil cooking. My first attempt, the video. So I've just heated a pan. I do not use non-stick. I do not use any other material which is not good for health. Will take away benefits of oil-free cooking. I've added a little bit of mustard seeds to the heated up pan, and I'm adding a bit of cumin seeds. There's no oil in the pan, so we'll just wait for that to you'll see the mustard seeds jumping around, and it's ready. See, you can see that jumping, which means our pan is ready. The spices are ready. I'm going to add onions to it. Just chop 2 onions. Okay, I'm not very organized. Just for the video today, I kept everything ready. Otherwise, I just cook on the go. I keep cutting vegetables and I cook. I haven't added an iota of oil. Now, it's okay for my onions to be a bit mushy in this recipe, so I will add a little bit of salt. Again, the salt that I add would be my pink Himalayan salt. Nothing processed yet. So a little bit of salt, just to So what does the salt do is make the onions let out the fluid, and so the onions would start cooking in their own water. The onions are nice and brown. You can see that it's nice and mushy, kind of caramelized. It's cooked. The raw smell is gone. So in oil-free cooking, it will keep the vessel. It will keep sticking to the vessel. So you just add a bit of water to release it off from the vessel. The next that I'm adding is a bit of ginger garlic paste, chili, ginger, and garlic paste. I like chilies in my food, so I add a little more of chili. And then add the mushrooms. Mushrooms have a tendency to let out water, so I just want to taste them a bit. Now, why are my mushrooms looking so different? What did I do to my mushrooms? Well, we all know mushrooms are a rich source of protein, fiber. They have this compound called selenium, which boosts immunity, which is rich in antioxidants, has cancer-fighting properties. But very, very important is it's a natural source of vitamin D. So what do you do to the mushroom to make it a natural source? Okay. Adding a little bit of water. This is the water that's left behind in my steamer. I boiled steamed potatoes for my ragi roti. I'm using that water. So what did I do to the mushrooms today? I bought the mushrooms this morning. Okay, because of the corona regulations and fear of corona, I came home, washed everything, and I dried the mushrooms in the sun. I dried them in the sun for about 4 hours. So mushrooms, when exposed to ultraviolet light, natural sunlight, absorb vitamin D. And when you eat them in your food, they give the vitamin D back to you. And the content of vitamin D is more than what you would find in any food supplement. So the next time you buy mushrooms, dry them in the sun before you cook. It's the best source of natural vitamin D, which is not found in any other plant-based food. And many of us are deficient in vitamin D. So it's good for you to add mushrooms as often as possible in your diet. The next that goes in here is tomatoes. Okay. I don't waste anything. Or sugar. So, add tomatoes now. The raw smell has to go. So talking of mushrooms, yes, it's a good source of vitamin D, so add it as often as possible. Shiitake and other dried mushrooms by themselves, because they're already dried, they are a rich source. But what we did in India, the oyster and the button mushrooms, and you dry them and the whole texture changes, you know, it becomes more like a dried mushroom. When you add them in your food, they are a very rich source. So why oil-free cooking? Why not add oil to your diet? Oil is again a very processed food. When you process food, it removes a lot of nutrients in it. So best is to avoid oil, but everything in balance. Not that I completely avoid oil in my diet. I do have, all of you know my love for vadas, and I have oil vadas made with oil. I also add oil once in a way to my food, but invariably I try and avoid adding any kind of oil to my food, any kind of oil, be it olive oil or anything. They have saturated fats and they are not good for your heart. There are several studies that have shown that avoiding oil in your diet does reduce the risk of heart disease. Now, instead of oil, where is the source of fat? We need fat because there are several vitamins that are fat-soluble vitamins. So you need fat in your body to absorb those vitamins A, D, E, K. So you need fat. So where is my fat going to come from? This food, I am going to be adding. I said I'm going to make makhanwala. Makhanwala without makhan. So where's the makhan coming from today? So my makhan will be from cashews. Normally when you use any grain, soak it overnight. It improves the nutritive value of the food. Soak it overnight whether you're cooking your dal. It takes away the unwanted gas and other features, but then it does improve the nutritive value. So ideally I should have soaked the cashews last night, but then me being me, I didn't do it. I soaked it in warm water just about a couple of hours before I made it into a paste. Now what is going to go into this is cashew paste. I'm just waiting for the raw smell to disappear. I'm adding a little bit of haldi. We all know that turmeric is a good source. It's an antioxidant. What we buy is pure form of haldi. I'm adding haldi. I'm adding some lychee powder. And some salt. Again, my pink salt. So once the raw smell goes, I'll be adding the cashew paste and finally the tofu. Added a little more of mirchi powder. I like mirchi in my food. So, and I'm going to add cashew paste, which will make it bland. So I added a little more. Now what I have done to the tofu is I have soaked it in warm water with salt because tofu is by nature very bland. So I'm just soaking it in salt so that it absorbs a little bit of salt in the water. So I just boil water and it also softens it up a bit. Now I'm going to throw away this water. I'm just going to use the tofu as such. And tofu, we all know, is a good source of protein, plant-based protein. Most plant-based eaters depend on tofu for their protein. There is controversy that soy does increase your estrogen levels. It's not good for the man and all that. But I know people who've been on soy protein for decades and nothing has happened. So there aren't any clear-cut evidence to say that soy does harm because of its estrogen content. Now, because of the estrogen content, it does help bring down the menopausal symptoms. So anyone who goes through menopausal symptoms can increase the soy in their diet. So this tofu is not processed, but if you're having a meal maker, that's processed. So tofu, tempeh, or just the soybean itself is okay to be used. Living here on the seaside, we don't use much of. It's okay to use it on the seaside, but when you're away in the plains, there is a lot of incidence of hypothyroidism. Soybeans do cause hypothyroidism, so I don't use them directly, but I don't use much of soy milk. I'm not a milk drinker, but then I do use a lot of tofu in my food, at least 2 days a week. That is my protein. I like the taste of soy too, so I add them to the diet. Next, what I am going to do is add the cashew paste. So I made a paste and I'm just adding that. I love using my hand when I'm cooking and my hands are clean. So there I go with the paste. I also like washing my vegetables after cooking. And what I would do now, I've added a little bit of water to this. It needs more water. Oh, it looks beautiful actually. The color is so beautiful. I'm going to remove a part of it because my daughter doesn't like it. She wants to have it with paneer. Now I don't enforce my diet on anyone, so I'm going to remove some of it for her to have it with paneer. But mine will have this tofu. So once this is cooked, I add the tofu to it and garnish with some coriander leaves. And my tofu makhanwala is done. So as I was talking to you, my ragi roti got ready as well. So this is the atta that was made. It has ragi atta, steamed potatoes. For 1 cup of ragi, added half a cup of steamed potatoes. Ideally, it's good to add sesame butter, tahini, rich source of calcium. But then I didn't have the mood to make tahini today, so I just had almond butter, which I had made a few days back. I added that for the fat and some chili and ginger paste and salt. So the dough is done and it looks good. It is a non-glutinous flour. Probably we might have to roll it out carefully, and I'm sure it will make good roti. So this is the best way to make gluten-free rotis. When you're making gluten-free, add potatoes. The ratio of 1 is to half. 1 cup of atta to half cup of potatoes, and mash them up with the atta, and you will get the binding qualities of potatoes in it. So this is going to be my roti tonight, and I'm removing some of this for dotted here. She doesn't mind my oil-free cooking, but she doesn't like tofu. She firmly believes I'm poisoning her with estrogen. Done. And last bit is to add one coriander. And my dish is done. I'll put it in.